about this our first speaker today, because this is somebody who is really dedicated to living the life that I'm looking for, which is a long, healthy, active life. Her name is Heike Yates, and Heike is a fitness and nutrition expert and works with women worldwide to stay fit for over 30 years. Her passion is empowering women over 50. So no matter if you're a woman over 50 or not, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be great for you. But this is Heike's passion, to really work with that age group, women over 50, to say yes to their health and to their lives. And it's not just about the fitness, it's also about nutrition and mindsets and strategies that combine together to create your win. And she's going to be talking to us about her SPARK method, which I'm really excited to hear more about, and how we can lean out and pursue our spark, pursue our health and joy. And so let's get started with Heike Yates. Thank you so much, Heike, for being here. Good morning.
Well, and thanks for the stretch, because I just got off my spin bike and I was sitting in my tri position, which is always hunched a little bit and shoulders together. So this was delicious. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I, it's like I actually just jump right in. It's like so many of us we have passions like the bike that may be good for us, but they can be causing imbalances, right? So we have to do the stretch. We have to do a variety of things. Is that true, Heike? To make sure we are living a balanced and healthy body.
Over the 30 years I've been in the fitness industry, and I see one gentleman here. I've mostly coached men and women all along the way in all the different things I've doing, but especially the last 4 years, I focused on women over 50. But I'm a huge believer of cross training. I don't think that you should do the same thing every day, day in, day out. You should do a little bit firm stretching, a little bit of strength, a little bit of whatever floats your boat. If you like to dance, you dance. But it has to be something that lights you up, that sparks your joy. Because if you're just drudging there and you're thinking, God, I have to do that class one more time, or hear that teacher again, you're like, that's not lighting you up. So cross training, and then you can pick from the things that you enjoy, and you may not even know things that you try out. Somebody says, oh, have you ever done yoga? And you're like, no, I don't know. I don't think it's for me. And your friend's like, come on, try it out. Just give it a shot. And you kind of go, sure, got nothing to lose other than learn more about me. And maybe I like it.
And this is so good, because actually it helps us, also keeps our brain young, and our balance and everything, our coordination. The more we are learning, the more our body has to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So I want to hit on, because you already said the word spark. Okay, so tell us, what is the SPARK method?
Well, the SPARK method really went through a birth process. So it didn't just come to me overnight. It was a long process, because as I changed how I want to talk to my audience and narrow down on the audience that I really want to speak to, with the women over 50 and the problems that we're experiencing as we go through menopause and beyond, and the aging process. Everything that the name itself just was, to me, nothing positive. Menopause. If somebody says menopause, you go, yeah, great. Sure. I'm not going to go, yay, menopause. Or any of the fit over 50. It was all so limiting. And at some point I was like, why don't we just pursue our spark? Because this is what we all are after, to live a better, healthier, fitter, more functional life as an overall umbrella. And so the spark the S stands for scanning. Scanning is what I think is, you just, using an example of somebody coming to me saying, Heike, can you help me? I want to get fitter and I want to eat better. Well, this is very vague. So you're going, well, what do you really want to do? What does it mean, eat better, for you specifically? So we're scanning that person's lifestyle, how they're doing things, what they know already, what they have misconceptions about, what they think they can't or cannot do. and go from that starting point. Because without knowing your, what is now referred to as many of you probably know, is the why. Everybody's like, what's your why? And you're like, I don't really know. I just want to be better. I want to be healthier. But your why is something that takes a lot of time to figure out. And it repeats itself in the spark steps again later on. But initially it's like skin. What's going on? What can you do? What do you want to do? What is your biggest goal and your biggest dream? You know, I always say there's nothing that you can't do. Only your mind limits you to the possibilities that you can do going forward. And so scan is step one. And most don't want to scan. Most just want to have, oh, I want to be fit. I want to have that bicep. Just give me a meal plan. So I follow that meal plan. So I will eat right. Meaning that many don't want to learn the process of what's good for them, from my experience. They want it handed on a silver platter. And that to me is, nah, we got to dig a little deeper in this, because it is something that I want you to have for the rest of your life. Not just when the meal plan ends, you're standing there going, well, okay, I guess I'm starting from the beginning again, because I don't know what to do now. How do I replace my protein now? I've been eating beans for the last 4 weeks. What else can I do? So nurturing independence in the scanning step as well. And then the P is the planning. So once we figured out,
real quick, can I ask? I like
yep,
the question.
sorry.
Why. So what could be a question we could ask ourselves? I'm sure there's many, but a question that we could ask ourselves to help explore our why in this scanning process.
Write down what you think nobody else wants to know about you. Like, you write down the things that you say, oh, everybody thinks it's silly that I want this. Or people are saying, you don't, especially for women, we're not good enough. We are not deserving of other steps than the steps that are given ourselves. So really ask yourself, and I always say, get a list out. I'm a big list maker. I always have lists. Start a list of dreaming your wildest dreams, and think about, what is it that you wanted when you were 20, 30, or whatever the age group is, or that you thought, wouldn't that be cool if I would climb Machu Picchu? Write it down, because it's part of the scanning. And if you have like climbing a mountain as a goal, it leads to then, why do you want to climb the mountain? Is it because you said, I've never done anything crazy in my life, I want to do one crazy thing? Or I always had that passion of going on a big mountain? Or dang it, I just want to be fitter, and climbing a mountain, that sounds good to me. So start a list with your biggest and wildest dreams, no limit.
And I love what you said, the things you're afraid to tell other people, or maybe embarrassed to tell somebody else. Like it's too far of a reach, or they might say you can't do that, or something like that. I think that's actually a really key piece there.
Yeah. Oftentimes I find that the women we do this to ourselves, that we are not deserving of the things that we dream of, that there's never enough time. There's always somebody else that deserves more than we do.
Cool. What's the next step?
Plan. I'm a big planner. So once we have the skeleton of whatever it is, it's whether it's nutrition, mindset, or a whole bunch of it, but you have a plan. And your plan could be that you want to use the mountain example, that you want to climb a big mountain. You want to climb Machu Picchu, but what do you need in order to get there? What are the baby steps, as I like to call them, that get you to get to the top? Well, you need to, number one, figure out how you're going to get stronger legs. You need to maybe figure out how you're going to deal with high altitude. You may need gear. You may need to change your nutrition. You got to figure out maybe how you're going to get to Peru and do the mountain. But that's sort of a big plan. But something that you can do right away is, okay, how do I get fitter? How do I get stronger? Bottom line. And this is the planning phase. And again, the planning phase to me is really about dream wild. Well, today I'm going to go hike the mountain in my neighborhood 5 times up and down, even though I've never done it. So this way I can hear what the desire is of where you think you want to go. And then we're breaking the steps down and we're like, okay, let's go maybe 1 time around the block and see how that feels. Let's do 2 times. Oh, have you tried weights yet? Or Pilates? So we're building a plan of what could be based on the scanning process.
Awesome. Okay, what's next?
Action. So far we scanned, we planned, we put everything together, and now it's time to actually do something, which is so hard for so many. It's like, yeah, I got the plan, I got the nutrition plan, I got the exercise plan, but I don't have time. I need to drive the kids to school, I pick up my mom from wherever, I got to drive so-and-so. Getting the action, actually to take action, is so difficult from my experience for many. I'm like, all you have to do is the first step. And the first step really may be that I kick your booty and say, okay, I want to see you tomorrow on that Zoom call. Or I want you to meet these women in the Facebook group. Or you go knock on your neighbor's door and say, let's go do something. I have a plan. Heike gave me a plan with what I want to do. And this is where the action takes place.
Mm-hmm. And I like it, the first step, right? We commit to the first step, right? I have a thing if I'm feeling really tired one day or something, my first step is to lay on my yoga mat, right? Or I've also heard people, the first step is just get on the bike. They're not requiring anybody to pedal or put their feet on the pedals, just get on the bike. Is that make sense to you?
Yeah. Just showing up, basically. Mm-hmm. Show up and then see what happens. Because when you have everything laid out, all you have to really do is get to it. Do something. Do anything. Mm-hmm. And many women too, they say, oh, this is not enough. These baby steps don't bring me to where my big goal is. And they just keep the end goal in mind and not enjoy the journey. And saying, wow, how cool does it feel if I can now actually walk 2 loops around my block? Or I schlep my garden equipment now because I'm working on my upper body strength. That first step of getting moving, doing something, anything is huge. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big action taker. So I'm always like, whenever you see me on social media, I'm always about, let's go, let's do this. Let's start with this. How about, have you tried this? And there is no expectation either when it comes to that action plan. I hope that people say, okay, I'm going to try it and see what happens. And not, oh yeah, I will totally succeed in this, which brings us to the R, but in a moment, it's never successful all the way. And some of the speakers have said this throughout this weekend already. There always will be a stumble block or a roadblock where you falter and then you just dust yourself up and you try again. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. What's the R stand for?
The roadblocks, and they are coming. They are anything from, I have no time, Heike. I couldn't find time in my day. Oh, the cat ran away. Oh, my mom called. Oh, I don't have the right shoes. Oh, I didn't know where to find that vegetable.
You've heard all the excuses.
I mean, one of my blog posts was about what to do, how to eat healthy when you can't cook. It's like, I can't cook. I'm like, totally, you can cut salad, you can cut vegetables. You're already on the process of cooking. So many times the smallest things push people over the edge, that when they encounter a roadblock, that they can't find the right vegetable for that stew that they're making, that they're defeated. They're like, okay, that just didn't work out. I gave it a try, but it just didn't work out. I was like, no, we have strategies, because if you don't find this vegetable, maybe you can use something else, or you just leave it out altogether if it's not a main ingredient. No big deal. Taking the fear away that they're a failure when a roadblock comes up, or the shoe. I don't have the right shoe. How can I go for a walk? I have sandals. Well, let's think of strategies how we can fix or overcome, not fix, but overcome that obstacle. And then we're just moving on, because there will always be something that stands in the way. And many of us either avoid it by going around and ignoring it. Many of us don't go right through and say, yep, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to see what happens. So that is the roadblocks, is another stop or a point where people give up. And I'm like, no, don't give up. That's good. That's fine. And that's when the K comes in, the kick ass. And there's where some tough love comes from my way. I'm like, we're not giving up. We are not feeling less of ourselves. We're not feeling self-defeated. We don't put ourselves down, but we're looking for the wins that we have with the little bit that we've done already. And we may have to start back at the planning phase again and go, maybe that Machu Picchu was a little bit more expensive than I thought. That was a big roadblock, maybe, to use the mountain example again. But I can go to my neighborhood. There is a mountain I can drive to that's financially more doable, and I have to train less. So rethinking the plan, and it's never a bad idea to say, you know what, I'm going back to the drawing board. I mean, many of us have said, oh, I had this goal, I have this dream, only to realize later that we really didn't want it so much, that it was somebody else's dream and goal that they had, and we adopted it as our own. And we're like, this is really not what I want to do. Susie wanted to do that, and it sounded really good, but you know what? I don't care about this. I care about that. And that's also, that whole process goes about finding yourself, which is what I just love. Is like, as we get older, we're changing. And I said this at some other point, every 10 years, I change. In my 30s, I had completely different goals than in my 40s. And it's my 50s, and I'm going to be 60 next year. I'm like, I have totally different goals each 10 years. I'm like, great, this is awesome. But not that many women feel about that. But this is where the spark comes in.
Yes. And I love, you definitely have a spark about you. And I love the idea of just having a new goal, like, right? Like, okay, this is in the next chapter of my life, and it can be exciting, right? I think so much of living long and healthy is just finding that new goal or that new purpose, that new inspiration, and getting excited about that. There's no reason when we get older that we can't still play like we were when we were kids, or be excited about something like we were when we were kids. It's a beautiful thing about being a human. We get to make that choice.
Yeah, when you think about, when I have two children that are now in their 30s, and when I became a mom, my role was mom. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of boring. You just sit home with your kids and you cook and you do all this like mom stuff. I'm a very independent person. But guess what? During my mom years, I became a bodybuilder. Somebody said, this would be a cool thing to do. And I said, could I fit this in with my kids? Weight training, posing, shows? I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so I became a bodybuilder. And I stood on stage posing and all these things, and I won some trophies, nothing big, and I never got paid for it. So I paid for myself, but I could be more than just a mom. I could be a bodybuilder. Or then I said, you know what? I become a runner. In my 40s, I became a runner. And then it ended up being that I became an ultra marathon runner, because I thought this was just so cool to run. But I stopped at 50 miles. I'm like, okay, 50 miles is good enough for me. But it's this excitement that you can do things. They may not be as extreme as running ultra marathons, but it doesn't matter. It could be just making your garden really beautiful. Mm-hmm. Whatever lights you up.
So inspiring. And I also want to just highlight, like, in the importance of it, of, like, as we age, our balance tends to not be as good and things like this, but doing these things, even like the gardening, like what you said, whatever, it doesn't have to be extreme. Though I do know a woman who was 78 who realized she was losing some strength, and she took up powerlifting at 78, right? So it's like, there is no limits, but besides the fact of what it does for us emotionally, and maybe you can confirm this for us, Heike, that, it actually keeps us safer. As we age, it keeps us more agile and more able to move around the world, right? In our own world.
In our own world, mentally and physically. And I can only say the clients that I'm working with that are in their 80s and 90s. So my oldest client is 94, and he has kyphosis. So he's really, really hunched over and bent forward. And we're always trying to make him taller and look me in the eyes. But even he has managed to move around better, walk better, get better balance with the training that we're doing. And it keeps him mentally sharp too. Because I ask him, I say, hey, what did you do last week? He's like, oh, I can't remember, I'm 94. And I'm like, you can. Remember the one where we did, oh yeah, that one. So keeping the mind and the body connected. And the group probably doesn't know that, but Emily and I are both tango dancers. And I'm a huge advocate of tango for older people. And the studies have shown that not only helps with balance, but also with Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And so I sometimes try to convince them to dance a little tango, but I think it's a little bit too much for them.
Yes. By the way, that woman that was 78 that was powerlifting, she's also a tango dancer.
And it's really, we set ourselves up for limiting ourselves, because you will know if you have arthritis in your knees and your hands and it's just not working so well. But you could do water aerobics, which would be great for your joints. So there's many more options out than there used to be, that it's really, there's no excuse for not being active in mind and body. Mm-hmm. There's no excuse.
Awesome. This is so inspiring. I love it. But I do want to switch gears a little bit, because you also recommend intermittent fasting. And we've actually touched on intermittent fasting with several speakers, but we haven't gone deeper into what that is and the benefits and what that does for you. So can you share with us a little bit more about intermittent fasting?
So intermittent fasting has now become very trendy, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And when you hear intermittent fasting, you think of, I think for most feedback that I get is intermittent fasting, I will lose weight. Because there's oftentimes you see these people that they did a fast and they're really skinny. And you're like, whoa, how to do this? So fasting should make me skinny. And that's what I keep battling when I talk about it, because people think I should lose a lot of weight when I fast, number one. And number two, the other perception is people are like, I'm not fasting because I'm starving. I need food in order for me to be healthy. And why should I starve myself? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. This is crazy. We're not fasting. Now, I got into fasting about 2.5 years ago. And I was training, I'm also on an Ironman. This is the person who runs and bikes and swims crazy long distances. So
you're almost 60 and you're doing the Ironman. That's what I heard, right? Yeah.
But as we all know, the hormones change. Menopause happened. I've been really, really lucky that menopause has not been unkind to me. I've had my hot sweats, I've gained my body fat, and I'm not as lean as I used to be, but that's just normal aging. That's just what happens to the body. But I trained like a fiend, and I got heavier rather than less heavy. I mean, from the years before, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, I eat my 6 meals, or 3 meals and 3 snacks. And when I train, I eat even more because I'm burning a zillion calories. But nothing changed. And I was like, well, I'm a sports nutrition coach, but I haven't found out anything about intermittent fasting. And I'm always really curious about when I call them the latest fad shows up, and I'm going, hey, yeah, let's just check that out first, because everybody claims that theirs is the best and the latest and the greatest, and it works for sure. Now, let me say that intermittent fasting doesn't work for everybody, and it's not for everybody's lifestyle. But I said, okay, I'm going to investigate. And so I tracked 60 days of intermittent fasting. And I read as much as I could about intermittent fasting, dug around on my research, put it all together, and said, you know what, let's see what happens. I lost weight, but not because only of intermittent fasting. And I'll explain when I dive a little deeper into that. I felt better. I got leaner. Um, I just loved the whole process of simplicity. So intermittent fasting to me has nothing to do with the keto diet, and which is often intermittent fasting is tied very closely to the ketosic diet, which to me, eating a lot of fat and protein, it's not healthy in my point of view. Everybody does whatever works for them. But intermittent fasting, really in a nutshell, is you stop eating for a couple of hours and then you eat again. That in itself is intermittent fasting. So for many people, that sounds great because you can eat. I don't say don't eat this, do eat that. I just say stop eating for a couple of hours and then start eating again. What happens though, from my experience and with the groups that I've had in my 4-week lean out program, is people become more mindful. They become more mindful, like, oh, I'm not eating. So, but I'm hungry. What do I do? Oh, when I eat, what do I actually eat? And am I eating a sandwich with a bag of chips? Am I drinking enough water? So they become more mindful. And this is one of the things that I feel is first people need to understand just that it's not scary, that it's not changing their life completely, that it's not about taking foods away from them and having them buy foods just in order to make this work. And I also have to say that you have to make sure that if you want to start intermittent fasting, check with your doctor. I don't know you. You may have diabetes. You would be not a candidate to intermittent fast. You may be pregnant, whoever's listening to this, you're not a candidate for intermittent fasting. So there are some precautions that we need to take before we intermittent fast. But again, the easiest way to fast is you eat your dinner, you don't eat a snack, and you don't eat anything till breakfast. Bam, you fasted. Easy peasy. Now, the cool thing about fasting is, especially for us women in menopause or past menopause, or even perimenopause, is that because we're giving our gut a rest, our gut actually now says, and you talked about this, about the microbiome yesterday, and your gut now says, whoa, I can actually digest everything and I can break down the old cells and rebuild new cells, which then make your gut feel so much happier, as I like to say. And bloating is a big problem throughout the menopausal time. It's so much easier to gear towards that. And then you change strategies of how you eat as you understand more of how easy it really can be.
Okay. And what about for older people, like say like over 70, for example, is intermittent fasting still safe for them?
It can be, and it's really the individual. It can be, but over 70. Emily, we're not that old.
Not yet, but there are some people we have all different ages.
70 is the new 40.
That's right. 70 is the new 40.
Well, to answer your question, I think it can be safe, but the tendency for older people is that, especially also the metabolism slows down. We're losing muscle mass. We're eating less nutrient foods. We're eating less overall. It depends on the goal. Okay. What is the goal with intermittent fasting? And I said it earlier, if you intermittent fast because you want to lose weight, I think that's a wrong way to look at intermittent fasting. And we're not talking about water fasts, dry fasts, 3 to 4 to 5 day fasts. That's a whole totally different ballpark game. But think enough that you just want to take a break from eating. Replacing unhealthy foods with healthier choices. As you talked yesterday about the foods with, I forgot the name, the couple that was on yesterday. And
the Waxman with the macrobiotic diet.
That was so good. It's like, yeah, everybody needs to hear that. Here's the foods that would be beneficial in your diet, that your body can absorb, and not stuff that sits in your gut and you can't go to the bathroom, or like they said too, you get constipated or you have diarrhea, and so it is very individual, but I think it's worth giving it a shot. If you think that your gut is not healthy, and we have heard this whole weekend already, the gut and the brain are directly connected.
Mhm.
If you are unhappy, if you're depressed, if you are whatever's going on with you, it may be the foods you eat that contribute to that feeling. It's like the fogginess during menopause, the brain fog. And I am a true believer that this is part of what you fed yourself that um, assists that brain fog or helps release some of that fogginess and
Mm.
lack of concentration.
Cool. Thank you. Um, and we have a couple other speakers also that do intermittent fasting. So we'll be getting little tidbits more here and there. But I love hearing people's approach and just different ideas and different strokes for different folks. So I'm curious, switching back to gears, back to exercise, what are some ways that you coach people to develop self-accountability and motivation within themselves? Because I know for many people, I love to exercise, but not everybody does. And what is it that how do you keep people inspired from within, right?
Well, that's a tough question, because if you just don't like to exercise, you will just not liking exercise, no matter how I motivate you. If you'd rather read a book, you read the book over anything else, and that's okay too. And the people that I've worked with who have said, Heike, you know what? Your podcast was just right on. I'm one of those people who just I hate sweating. I hate all of it. And I was like, well, but how are you going to get up? How are you going to get moving? How do you do your groceries? When you think of functional ways that people need the strength, they need the flexibility, they need good posture for breathing, which also is a big theme this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I promote the breath a lot through my Pilates work as well, is you can try to motivate the people, like I said, till the cows come home. Unless they make a decision that it is important to them, they're not going to do it.
Mm.
If you don't think it's important to you and your health, you may be able to do it because just your doctor said so, or your friends dragging you along. But if you're not seeing the benefit of exercise and what it can do for your life, and when you I always like to use an like, look at this person over there. This is you right now, but this could be you right now if you don't keep stretching, if you don't, do your core strength or whatever else. The motivation is you can only, and I'm very big on motivating. And you saw my Instagram account. I'm just like always like, yeah, let's do it. We can do it. I think the motivation to feel better is there. The action steps are not. To help somebody take action, it's all about self-accountability. Are you holding yourself accountable for the life you want to lead? Or are you saying, oh, the class didn't work. I went there 3 times and it didn't work. But so it's so many little bits and pieces you could pull out there, but I think it's self-accountability and seeing the benefits of changing your life, living longer, healthier, which is the theme of this weekend. And when he talked about breathing yesterday, and when you're sitting like this, if you guys didn't see that presentation, go back and watch it. I see so much of this in my practice, and the tension and the tightness and the not breathing, it all ties in together. But it's the first step is you have to hold yourself accountable and say, and not blame something else for it's not being the way you thought it should be.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I want to highlight a couple things you just said. Not blaming is first. That's a great one. Blaming and complaining, that's not good for our health. And but I love what you said about, for people who some people love it, and they're like, I want to be the bodybuilder, I want to be the triathlete, whatever it is, and they're going towards the goal, right? And And other people, I love what you said, because I haven't thought about this so much. But if you could just say, you see that person over there who has a hard time walking and, you know, just getting through the day, it's like, maybe that's your motivation, moving away from that versus moving towards something else, like the triathlon, right? Is to keep us internally motivated. You know, like, I don't want to be that person. And a classic example for myself, I am huge on the posture because I don't have a body that naturally wants to have good posture. We're going to be doing more about posture later today too. But my mother and my grandfather had that huge kyphosis that you were talking about. And I'm telling you, I feel better when I work on my posture. I physically know I feel better. But when I have the image in my mind of my mother and my grandfather, I'm like, okay, you know, like, let's get this, let's keep on this. So yes, moving away or moving towards, I think it's important for us to find what actually does motivate us, because we're all different.
And it's also, people feel scared when you say, hey, look at this. They think, oh my God, there's so much work. I can't do that. There's so many steps involved. I will never get there. This earlier on the scanning part, the self-defeating thoughts that they don't even want to start, even if they had best intentions.
Yeah. So you've been quite an athlete, bodybuilder, for those of people who are coming in, bodybuilder, Ironman. And I'm wondering, do you find that somebody for health, can you over exercise?
Oh, absolutely. And that ties back into our intermittent fasting bit. Absolutely, you can over exercise. Is if your life just revolves around the one thing, all you want to do is exercise. All you want to do is lift weights or run, and you become what's the word? You stop being social with other people. You're obsessed with not getting enough mileage in every week, and you're doing anything to get that mileage in, no matter what, no matter the sacrifices you have to make, the people around you. So definitely a very strong syndrome in the running community is this over exercising, this more mileage is better. And as we have found out, is that if we're exercising too much, this is also not healthy for our gut. So we're tying this back with the intermittent fasting. Exercise is important, but so is a balance with everything else. And you may get those happy endorphins from all the exercise you get, but after a while you will get tired. It will put a burden, or you will be injured because you're over exercising. And I use my example with our running groups. And I'm also a running coach. I used to coach more actively, but people will go, oh, I didn't get my 12 miles in today. I only have 11 and a half. I need to, and they would actually run a little bit longer just to get this 12-mile run in. And they were not happy if they didn't get this amount of time in. So yes, absolutely. There has to be a balance with everything, just with nutrition, with exercise. We got to listen to our body, because our body will tell us, I'm tired, I need a break. Or it would say, yeah, this feels good.
Awesome. So like everything I'm saying, it's balance. Yeah. Balance in diet, balance in activity. And I want to end with kind of one last question of like, what is, and this is a big question, so we don't need a big answer, but just like, if you could pin it down, what does healthy mean to you as a human being?
Very simple. It's being healthy in mind and body. That's the essence. If you're not healthy, you're not happy. If you're not happy, you're not healthy. It's ties together. It's like, how do we live happy with things that light us up, whether it's exercise or nutrition? But it has to be a balance all throughout, with health, with mindset, with our friends, with our communities. It's far more reaching than we think. Is a sense of stability, a sense of comfort. Yeah. and happiness. And when my kids have things going on in their lives, I said, you know what? All that doesn't matter. It matters that you're happy. Because if you're happy and you feel good about yourself and the things you do and the things you say to yourself and to other people, you are already winning. No matter the other stuff around it, it's just crap. That's not important.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah. We determine happiness by what lights us up, what puts a smile on our face, what makes us breathe better, yeah.
So this is so interesting because I think like it's really easy for people to say, oh, Heike is a long distance runner, did all these things, and to compare ourselves to that. But that is not, you are you and I am me, and everybody else is their own beings. And for the book readers out there, I don't want you to feel like you're less than, but it's also looking at like, well, where do I want to be in 10 years? In 20 years? How do I want to feel? And do I need to start incorporating some new diet, some new exercise, a new movement into my life so that I can feel the way I want to feel in 20 years? And still, read the books or do whatever lights you up, right?
We have a choice in everything we do. And when a friend of mine said the other day, she said, oh, where are you guys going? I said, we're going to this Italian place that has the best Italian subs, right? Literally from Italy. And she says, is that something I can eat? And I said, it depends. You choose what you eat. You choose happiness. You choose to exercise. Nobody says, you have to do this. Well, it's not true. There's some people who say you have to do, but we don't want to have to's. We want to choose, because if we choose, we can own it. We can choose the things that bring us happiness, the foods we eat, the exercises we do, the mindset we choose. We can choose, and this is a very good example, glass half full or glass half empty. Which one are you? And if you're the half empty, maybe you need to have a couple more happier friends around you and read happier books or whatever it is. But we choose.
Awesome. We choose. Who is choosing? I'm choosing, right? Awesome. So I want to highlight we have a gift for everybody. Heike has a gift, and it's 5 step-by-step strategies to kickstart your healthy fitness lifestyle for women 50 plus. Now, is it for just women 50 plus, or can other people do it too?
Anybody can do it.
Okay.
Because anybody who needs a kick in the booty or needs a Kickstarter, which is, I think after 30 years in the industry, 33 years now, I like to say I've seen it all. And which of course is not true. You could always learn more, but people don't know where to start. There's all these complicated programs and choices that are out there. We want to make it easy for them. And that's what the Kickstarter is. It's like, here, this is what you can start eating if you want to eat healthy. Here's some exercises. Here's a couple of mindset strategies I want you to start with. So you can get an idea of who you are, what you want. And that's what the Kickstarter is, because we don't need to talk technical terms. We don't need to talk about big words that nobody understands unless you're in the industry. We want to talk to the level where people understand our message and can digest that information easily. And that's what the Kickstarter is.
Yeah. So if you're ready for a little kick in the booty, we have the link just got posted in the chat. And I'll also post it in the email, etc., and on the speaker page for 5 for 50 Kickstarter guide for everyone, no matter how old you are or who you are. And thank you so much, Heike, for sharing all your spark with us. It's been really a pleasure. And it's always an inspiration to me. I love to look at people that are, older than I am or further down the road in any way than I am. And I'm like, wow, they did it. I can do it too. Right. And if we're older, if we're already further down the road, it's like we can start anytime, right? Anytime.
Absolutely. There's never a time not to start. And your example for the 78-year-old woman, what a power lifter, who says you can't? I
Right.
say you can because you choose.
Awesome. You too. All right. Thank you so much, Heike. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Y'all go ahead and check out 5 for 50 Kickstarter guide, and a beautiful, beautiful way to start our morning. Thank you so much, Heike.
Thank you, Emily.
Awesome. All right, everybody. We are going to just take a quick, get up, walk around, get your water break, and then we're going to come back, continuing on the theme of happiness, because I'm really excited for our next speakers up. They are happy warriors. So we're going to go fully into mindset and developing the skills of being happy. So we'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. And so just take a quick bio break, and we'll see you soon.